Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today is the day we're gonna dive deep into former SNSD Girls' Generation member Jessica Jung's book, Shine. Now, if you plan on reading this book and do not want to be spoiled, do not watch this video. I am going to spoil literally everything that happens. Just remember, watching this video will be shorter than actually reading the book, if that entices you to watch me instead. I have made a spoiler-free review of the book already, and it should be uploaded before this because I imagine this is going to take so much longer to edit. So if you haven't checked that out, you should check that out. If you're not interested in just a review of the book and you just want to know what happens, continue watching. And just a heads up, as I tell the story, there will be pictures to help keep track of the different characters. The pictures I am showing are not the actual people being represented, so don't take the pictures too seriously, please. The only exception, I guess, is the main character, Rachel, will be played by Jessica, and Leah, her sister, will be played by Crystal, because that is just how I imagine them the whole time. But everyone else, you'll understand when you see it that it's not who the people are. So let's just get to the point and dive into the book. Also, I am taking off this because it annoys me too much. The book is dedicated to all of her golden stars. Heads up, legs crossed, tummy tucked, shoulders back. Smile like the whole world is your best friend. I repeat the mantra in my head as the camera pans across my face. The corners of my lips turn up in a perfectly sweet, "Don't you want me to tell all your secrets?" pink gloss smile. But you probably shouldn't. You know how they say 3 can keep a secret if 2 of them are dead? Well, that couldn't be truer for my world, where everyone is always watching, and your secrets can actually kill you. Or at least they can kill your chance to shine. We open up on some kind of interview that is going on. We meet some of our characters, kind of, and now we're about to meet the main star of the show, Rachel. So the interviewer asks her, "What do you love about working together?" Now, Rachel has quite the fear of cameras. She always freezes up and doesn't know what to say, which is such an unfortunate trait for trying to be a K-pop idol. And she's not really able to answer the question, so the interviewer asks her a different question. What was your favorite part of living in the trainee house? She, of course, answers, 8 girls to do your nails for you. It's like living in a 24/7 nail salon. Nailed it. The interviewer plays along with it, even though obviously it's a stupid answer. And then he asks quite the question. Rachel, you have received high praise for your talent as the lead vocalist. Do you find your talent inspires the other girls to do better and work harder? And she clearly does a terrible job again. I mean, I am talented. Wait, but not the most talented. I mean, well, the group, all the girls.
I think we all say true. Yeah, I guess that's.
And then there's a bell that rings, and we find out this interview was actually fake, and it was a mock interview arranged by the entertainment company, which is DB Entertainment. Not to be confused with SM. Doubt any connection or similarity between the two. Rachel, of course, gets slammed on how terrible of the job she did. And we're told the information that she has one of like the best singing voices and best dancing, and she's one of the most talented trainees, but she sucks behind the camera. So now comes the antagonist of the book. We got Mina, but she's mean. She, of course, scoffs at Rachel's answer about them all doing her nails, which is ironic because Mina is from a wealthy family and she has servants and stuff. So we also meet the other mean girls. We got Lizzie, Unji, who always is chewing gum, and Sumin. Rachel has the nickname Princess, which Jessica too had Ice Princess as her nickname, so I guess it makes sense that she's getting Princess Rachel as her nickname. And a lot of it is stemming because she comes from America. Rachel is also said to be Mr. No's favorite, Mr. No being the Lee Suman, I guess you could say, of DB Entertainment. And yeah, the girls are a bit jealous about this. Kind of rightfully so, I would say. We get some information about DB Entertainment, just kind of the layout. It's a really nice place. Apparently there's like fantastic food, but they don't get to eat it because they're K-pop trainees who are all dieting, so what's the point? But I guess like Joe Jonas eats there, so that's a cool fact, I guess. We are told about the yearbook wall, which is kind of this wall of pictures of everyone from the company that has debuted. And I feel like there is a lot of attention on it right here, and then it is never brought up again. I don't know. I guess I would expect her to bring up how she wants to be on the wall, but I think the main point they bring up the yearbook is so we are introduced to the Next Boys, which is a very popular boy group, and they're very relevant to the story. And we are also told about Electric Flower and their member Kang Jina, who also plays a important part in the story. So expect that to come back. So Rachel talks a little bit more how she's seen as Princess Rachel, and she gets really no respect from the other trainees. You'd think they judge me based on how hard I train, how I work my body to the bone at DB headquarters on the weekends, how I sleep 4 hours a night during the week because of the hours of practice I put in after finishing my homework, how I begged my school to give me an independent study in music so I can have 50 minutes alone every day in the music room practicing scales to keep me sharp. But instead, they judge me on my clean clothes, my neatly brushed hair, and the fact that I go to sleep in my own bed at night. So yeah, Rachel doesn't stay at the trainee house. She lives at home. It's a special arrangement. She only trains on the weekends. She wanted to train full time, but it was an arrangement she made with her mom because her mom wants her to study. This is a big whole part of the story, so I'm just gonna put that there. Rumors are circulating that a new girl group's gonna debut soon, so this is her chance to shine. Oh, I'm not. We meet another character, Akira.
Hi. Yeah, so I know I just said her name was Akira. That is, in fact, not her name. Her name is actually Akari. I, for some reason, decided to call her Akira throughout this entire video. I even made it a point mentally to not do that, but it was late. So, yeah, when I say Akira, I really mean Akari. Thanks.
Who is Japanese, and she's also from a wealthy family, just like Mina was. And she was gonna be like a J-pop star, but then her parents were moving to Korea and they didn't want her to be in Japan alone, so she moved to Korea with them, and she is now trying to become a K-pop star. I feel like the first chapter is going to take so long, but there's a lot of setting up to be done here, okay? Bear with me. We also meet Yujin, who is a trainer at DB Entertainment and has like a friendship with Rachel, I guess. She is also the one who discovered Rachel at Inorebang, which is, you know, a karaoke bar kind of place. I don't understand why she has like these tight connections to like important people in DB, but I guess that's why everyone hates her. There's some kind of bowing ceremony happening where I guess like the new trainees like come in and they bow to the senior trainees, and we get this like funny flashback of Rachel's bowing ceremony. So Rachel is from America, so she doesn't quite understand bowing etiquette. She was told to bow, and then when she got to Mina, she stuck out her hand to shake it because they're the same age, and that was apparently very disrespectful, and Mina has hated her ever since. This isn't really important at all to the story, but I'm just going to bring this up. So after the bowing ceremony, they go to get food, and Rachel just goes off about how she hates cucumbers. Like, what is wrong with cucumbers? Why is that such... There's such detail about how she just hates cucumbers, and it gets brought up multiple times. I don't understand why people don't like cucumbers. I had never met someone who didn't like cucumbers until I got into K-pop, which sounds so weird, but I went my whole life up until after I graduated college thinking that like cucumbers are fantastic and harmless and why would anyone not like them? But apparently people like despise them. Cucumbers are like my favorite vegetable, so I'm very passionate about this, and I got very annoyed every time she brought up how she hates cucumbers. Cucumbers are like the jogging exercises of the vegetable world. People pretend to like them because they're supposed to be healthy for you, but really, they're the worst. And they leave a horrible taste in your mouth, and they should be illegal. First off, I don't get it. And second off, rude. There are so many worse vegetables out there. I'm getting off track. Okay, here we go. Our lead-in man is about to get, not an appearance, but he's about to get mentioned. There's a lot of gossip going around about DB's angel, their favorite boy, Mr. Jason Lee. He is their newest star and I guess star member of Next Boys. There's some kind of drama between Jason and the execs of DB Entertainment, and no one really knows what's happening, but it's all the gossip. Like, people are thinking he stole a vinyl, which, what a weird rumor to spread. Especially because some of the other rumors they have spread at this company are quite extreme. To give a comparison to this other trainee rumor that happened, she was suddenly let go in the middle of a training cycle. Rumors ran rampant that she had a drug problem and she owed thousands of dollars to her dealers who sold her to one of those North Korean themed restaurants in Cambodia. But more likely she was just spotted holding hands with the boy, but the chances of her breaking the no dating rule, come on, no. And shoot, at one point, I guess people thought Rachel had like an illegitimate daughter that's her sister, but they're only like 5 years apart. And that's why Rachel doesn't stay at the trainee house and is only there on the weekends, because she has to like work to support her child during the week. The chapter ends with Mina inviting Rachel to the trainee house for a nice singing practice thing, and Mr. No, he overhears this and's like, oh my god, Rachel, so hardworking. I love to hear that. So now Rachel has to go. And then we get this interaction with Mina and Mr. No, because Mina's dad, Mr. Chu, is like, you know, big wealthy guy, and I guess is friends and has ties with Mr. No, but Mr. No is like, who are you again? Like, I just know Rachel, which obviously bothers Mina. And that's the end of the chapter. Chapter 1's done. Jesus Christ, we're making great time, guys. Chapter 2, we meet Rachel's dad, who is called Appa. It's dad in Korean. Appa? I don't speak any Korean, I'm so sorry. He works at a boxing ring thingamajig. Her dad is taking secret law classes at night. Only Rachel is the one who knows. He doesn't want the rest of the family to know in case he like doesn't get it done or something. Yeah, that's a side story that's happening. A common thing that happens is Rachel feels guilty because she's kind of the reason why they moved to Korea, and now her dad's like job is really not doing great, so she feels like it's her fault. Yeah. We meet the Cho twins, her other two friends, and it's funny, I know they're twins, but I get them mixed up when I can't even see them. We're in a book. Rachel's conflicted about Mina's singing practice thing, and she feels like she has to go, or her career is over. Apparently, trainees are judged like every 30 days, and like if you do a bad job, you're cut. Apparently, Rachel's friend Akira actually kind of encountered this where she thought she was going to get cut, but their pal Eugen stepped in, and I guess, I don't know what she did, but Akira got to stay, so that's exciting. Rachel talking to herself in her head about Mina's invitation thing. Is it worth it? That's a question I ask myself every day. All the training, the lost weekends, the family sacrifices, the constant feeling of never quite belonging somewhere you desperately want to be, all to fulfill your dream of becoming a K-pop star. I think of 11-year-old Rachel, The little girl who used to be chronically late because she couldn't stop watching K-pop music videos in the bathroom between classes. In some ways, not a lot has changed. In other ways, everything has. So, yeah, she loves K-pop. And, of course, realizing that K-pop is everything to her, of course she has to go. Rachel comes home and we meet Leah, her little sister, who's with some friends and they're watching some K-pop videos. And then, like, the friends just start shitting on Rachel because, like, she's from DB Entertainment and they're like,
do you even know Jason Lee?
And then they just leave and go shopping without Leah. Leah is constantly going through different friends, and it's kind of just because I guess Rachel's training to be K-pop star thing, and everyone wants in on that, I guess. Now we get to meet Rachel's mom, her Uma, and this is a pretty big part of the story. Her mom is not exactly on board with this K-pop dream thing, even though they like moved to Korea for this. So her mom comes home and Rachel's hoping that her mom's gonna ask her about her day, but instead her mom's like, "Did you finish your homework?" To which Rachel classically replies with, "My day was fine, thanks for asking." Classic teenage stuff. And then her mom just gives her a bunch of college applications. And there's some seminar tomorrow that she wants Rachel to go to. Her mom really wants her to go to college and have a future. But Rachel can't go to this seminar because it's on the weekend and she trains on the weekend. We're talking about the rest of your life, Rachel, not just one day. Sure, but training is like the rest of my life, isn't it? I mean, that's the reason we came here. School, education, a future, I'm just here to train, to sing and dance. And her mom like tries to be empathetic about this in her own way, because I guess she liked to play volleyball back in the day, but then gave up on her dreams. But Rachel just gets mad and eats her chicken with the skin on because to hell with the extra calories. And then Leah, the bro that she is, just swoops in and is like, the Cho twins are they're studying and shit, and y'all should just like have a sleepover tonight, because Leah's really being a bro and trying to get Rachel out of the house so she can go to Mina's training song practice thing. And at first the mom's skeptical, but then she's like, "Why didn't you tell me? Go!" So then Rachel showers, puts some PJs on, and she goes. Chapter 3. We talk about Rachel recounting an experience when she was younger with a fellow Asian classmate, Eugenia Lee, who is Chinese. Rachel got stung by a bee and she's like waiting for her mom, and then Eugenia's mom walks in. Or is it Eugenia? I've always said Eugenia because that's how it is in my family, but I understand there's also Eugenias. Anyway, that's not relevant. Eugenia's mom comes in and the nurse is all like, "Your mom's here." And that was when Rachel learned people are racist, and she wished she was no longer Korean. And to make her feel better, her mom shows her K-pop, and this made Rachel proud to be Korean, which is kind of interesting that that's the thing you're proud of. But like, I get it, K-pop rocks. She recalls some racist experiences, getting made fun of, eating kimchi, being told to go home, people thinking she was dressed as Cho Tang when she was dressed as Hermione. But it didn't matter because she had K-pop. Through it all, there was K-pop. It made me feel understood. Like there was a place in the world where I belonged, where people would see me for me. And I know I'm making jokes how it's like kind of silly that she like has K-pop to make her feel better, because like, I'm gonna be honest, like K-pop gets me through the day, like every day. I love K-pop, so I don't blame her. It's just kind of funny, I don't know, reading it, just like racism. At least I got K-pop. We have some interaction back when she was like in New York City, because Rachel is from New York City, Jessica's from San Francisco, but I guess they're not the same person, but you get it. And there's a conversation in Korean. It's romanized, so you can read it, and it's all very understandable. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure what the point of this conversation was, but then she just starts like flexing how Seoul is so much better than New York. Oh, and in case you're wondering, yes, she does inform her friends, the Cho twins, about telling her mom that she's going to their house, because that was the first thing I thought of is, well, then her mom's just gonna make some comment and they're gonna be like, what? She wasn't here. You know, like classic plot kind of, it happened. You know. Rachel, high on the adrenaline of lying, gets off one stop too early on the bus. And she just walks the rest of the way and is like, oh yeah, I gotta change out of my PJs. Because remember, she left wearing pajamas. And then, like, in public, she just starts, like, getting dressed behind a bush and hopes nobody sees her, and then she falls.
Wow, that looked like it hurt.
Said a voice. Here he is, the man of the show, the book, the legend, the boy. That's literally what it says in italics. Jason Lee. So Jason Lee is from Canada. He is half white, and Rachel talks about how this like foreignness of him gets him like sex appeal points, whereas Rachel just gets mandatory Korean lessons. This interaction is just something out of a rom-com kind of anime, and I eat it up. He's all like,
oh, you heard about me? What are they saying? I have a voice of an angel. Smile of the devil. Body of a god.
And then she like brings up the rumors like, oh, just that you steal Mr. No's vinyls and have a secret werewolf lover. And then he's like,
what? Who said that? I don't steal vinyl from Mr. No.
You see, it's funny because you would think he would be like, I don't have a werewolf girlfriend, but he finds out that she's going to the K-pop trainee house, and he's like,
I have no clue who you are, but I like your Snoopy pajamas. Let's go.
And he like calls her beautiful and stuff, and like, what a charmer. But yeah, let's not forget, Rachel is trying to change out of her pajamas in public, and she's all like, don't watch me. And then she gets like flustered or whatever, and then in classic rom-com fashion, she trips and, you know, like falls on him. Apparently, he smells like maple and mint. She gets to the trainee house and it's packed. And that's when Rachel finally realizes, you know, this isn't a training session. This is a party. This is so random, but I just love that Jessica like describes this. So, you know, they just get to the trainee house, and, you know, Jason, after seeing his homies, the next boys, his friends walk over and they do that bro hug thing where they clasp opposite hands and clap each other on the back. Yeah, that is the thing that bros do. We meet the only, I guess, relevant next boys member that isn't Jason, and that is Minjun. And he's all like, ooh, Rachel's American. You know, it's a party. She starts drinking. But then, of course, we meet Mina again. Dun, dun, dun. And so, you know, Rachel, she's trying to drink. She's having a good time. And then, of course, you know, Mina, a little bit of a B word here. Her and, you know, her gang are not being the nicest of people to her. And then Jason just, like, swoops in. And Mina's all like, oh, Jason, were you looking for me? And he's like,
nah, I'm looking for Rachel.
And just swoops her away. And then they're sitting on the couch and they get real close. And my heart is thumping. This is moving so fast. And then Minjun, you know, Jason's homie, just like cockblocks. And then they eat some leftover chicken because, yes, Rachel brought the chicken that she, like, ate at home. Remember when I was like, she ate the skin off the chicken? Yeah, she brings the chicken to the party. Mina then, like, kicks out all the non-trainees, like, especially the boys. So then it's like, you know, girls. And they have, like, a toast of champagne. That's not... they toast champagne. I don't think you have a toast. And then this is when it gets so weird. Rachel begins to realize the alcohol's kicking in and like starts fading out. And Mina and friends are like, it worked. She'll never be chosen now. And they get her to start like dancing and she's giggling. And it seems like Unji with like this evil smirk is like filming her. Like all this happens. Did they drug her? Because like she hasn't had that much to drink. Like it's not like she's getting wasted. But like they freaking drugged her. And that's how that chapter ends. Hungover Rachel wakes up. She has a cucumber face mask on, which of course she's appalled by, because fuck cucumbers. Then she kind of remembers things and then realizes it's 11 a.m. And remember, it's a weekend, so she's late. She then gets to DB Entertainment. These execs are there because they're like there to track their progress. And of course, it's the classic like TV moment where she like enters and then there's silence and then everyone's like, oh my god, look at her, she's so late. Oh my god. And then Rachel sees Mina and then like remembers the fact that Mina fucking drugged her. And like that's not me just like piecing that together. It literally says in the book like that Mina drugged her. Mr. No has the big announcement that a female trainee has the shot of singing a duet with Jason Lee. Rachel, still in her pajamas and completely hungover, does her audition. And yeah, it's a mess. But you know, she starts to improve and she is finding her stride now. Her voice riding the melody like a surfer on the waves. But then, as she gets to the chorus, all of a sudden a male voice appears, and yeah, it's Jason. He just casually struts in and starts singing along as well. And then Rachel realizes that they're meant to sing together. They finish their song, and there's silence, and then in classic fashion, the crowd erupts with a thunderous applause. What a great performance, yeah! And then Rachel throws up on Jason. On his white, fancy $200 shoes, too, at that. And she runs to the bathroom, obviously, to, like, throw up more, and because she's, like, mortified. And then Lizzie and Unji pop in, and that's when we find out that, like, Mina got the duet, because I guess they already decided it that fast. So, as great of a performance, I guess Rachel did. I don't think throwing up helped. And, yeah, Mina's doing it, which is weird, because she is a dancer, primarily. That's what she's a lead dancer, not a main vocalist, whereas, like, Rachel is a main vocalist, so weird choice, I guess. Rachel, you know, she's brushing this off because she remembers Jason's words that he told her.
The more people are talking about you, the more you're worth talking about.
We begin the chapter with Rachel playing some tennis in gym and how she's trying to, like, distract herself from the fact that she threw up on the Jason Lee. She informs her friends, the Cho twins, that Mina has gotten the duet, and it got posted to the, like, DB Instagram page. And Rachel takes solace in the fact that Mina's face has that squashed in look I'm familiar with from 6 years of voice lessons with her. Meaning she can't quite hit the high notes in the chorus. The twins think that Mina is pretty and her and Jason would have adorable babies. And then this girl, like, Somi appears and, like, she only talks to the important people at school. So, you know, like, she talks to the Cho twins because they're, like, hot shit. Their family's rich and, like, owns a business and everything. But, like, she would never talk to Rachel. But then she talks to Rachel. She apparently heard about the duet and is like, damn, Mina is pretty and rich. That's 2 out of 2. Well, you have 0. Why is everyone so mean? I never mentioned this, but the twins' names are Juyeon and Hyeri. Ju-yeon has a like makeup YouTube channel, so she's like kind of a big deal that's relevant to what's about to happen. So like Ju-yeon has like this fan. Like this girl brought a puppy into school for this girl. If I had someone who could just bring me a cat, like while I was stressed, oh my god. But yeah, she's just like a hardcore fan. Why is she relevant again? Why was I bringing this up? This isn't relevant to anything. We learn more about Rachel's fancy school, and like it is fancy. Like there's a lot of rich people that come to the school, and like Rachel's family doesn't really quite fit in, but her mom wanted to spend the extra money for like the better opportunity because like I said, her mom really wants her to have like this good future. So big school. And then there's some love triangle going on with the twins. This is like a side plot that kind of happens, and I couldn't follow it because like I said, the twins are just the same person to me. So I always forget, like, oh my gosh. They think he likes one of them while the other one likes him. And then the chapter ends with them going to the student lounge and watching this like viral video from a beauty vlogger. And yes, this actually is important to the story. You're gonna find this is a common thing, but whenever a chapter ends on what seems like a cliffhanger, the next chapter doesn't just pick up where it left off. It starts with like some other thing, and I guess I understand books do this, but this happens like every chapter. Anyway, we get some more information about Rachel and Eugen. I guess, Rachel used to get homesick because, she's from America. And Eugen would, like, let her stay in her office and, like, cry. And that's how they bonded, I guess. So, here we go. This part's kind of important. Rachel has an idea. What if she made a viral video of her and Jason singing? Then DB would, like, have to give her the duet, even though they already gave it to Mina. But like a viral video, which is going to be kind of hard to do since the trainees aren't allowed to have social media. So, but that's where Eugen comes in. And of course, Eugen's just like, Rachel, your audition was a disaster. You're failing classes, and how are you going to make a viral video when you're afraid of cameras? Excellent point. But then Eugen's like, okay, you know what? Fine. The performance was kind of amazing. So, like, I'll help you out. And then she, like, writes this address down in Itaewon. That's how you pronounce it. Which, if you know about Korea, that's where, like, the clubs are. And she tells them to meet her there and have nobody follow them. She pretty much just talks about how, like, Eugen's just been by her side and they've shared their opinions of, like, how like, K-pop's really, like, been awesome and, like, it helps people. And there's no way Rachel can let her down again. Rachel and Akira are walking to this place, and they're lost, which is just adding to the sketchiness of this all. And then they see, like, a K-drama actor, and then they walk into, like, the building, I think, that the K-drama actor... This is just, like, such a confusing part of, like, how it's written. Maybe I'm just stupid. But so, like, they walk into this building, and it's, like, fancy, I guess, and playing music, and then, like, hey, there's Eugen! They just, like, happened into the building that Eugen's there. Like, they didn't know that's the building she was talking about to meet, like, yeah. And then Eugen's mom, the one and only Chung Yuna. You don't know who Chung Yuna is? She's like one of the most iconic K-pop stars, so you clearly don't know anything about K-pop if you don't know Chung Yuna. The place they're at is this, like, underground cafe thing for, like, famous people to come to and, like, no one to, like, know they're there, like, no paparazzi. So it's all, like, K-drama actors and idols. Rachel is like, why are we here? And Eugen's just like, you'll see. And then she sees two K-drama actors kissing, which is, like, a big deal because these actors are in, like, the same K-drama and, like, ooh. And, of course, in shock, she hits herself in the face with a spoon. And then we get a voice.
That looks like it hurt.
That's the end of the chapter. The voice was Jason. Duh. Then Rachel kind of like lusts for his arms a bit. And yeah, they flirt. It's cute. He forgives her for throwing up on his shoes. What a gentleman. The foreigners they are, they laugh about Korean food and like how there's always cheese on everything and like sausage. So Jason sees something on Rachel's napkin, and so he like grabs her wrist and like, leans in a little bit. And Rachel like thinks he's gonna kiss her. But of course he isn't. Take your guess. What is on the napkin? There's doodles. But doodles of what? If you guessed outfits, you're correct, because you know what Jessica loves? Fashion! And yeah, we kind of just focus on the fact that I guess Jessica loves to just draw outfits and fashion sketches. It's not important to anything, but it's just a characteristic of her, I guess. She loves fashion. Jessica loves fashion. Jason, like, says this line that he think would be like this great lyric for a song, but it's really not.
How sad. Perfectly good coffee. Ruined by your doodling.
I don't see how that would ever be a good line for a song. But it's so they can talk about how like Jason wants to write his own music. And Rachel's like, maybe DB will let you like write your own music someday. And Jason like he gets sad. And before we know why, a mic squeaks. The next boys are on stage. And they call up Jason and Rachel. Then the pianist begins to play a ballad. Rachel freezes up like she always does. And, Jason, he's like singing it solo. He catches that she's struggling. But he's like, I'll steal the show. It's fine. But then he like spins her or something. And her trainee instincts kick in. And then she sings. They're vibing. The crowd erupts. Wonderful performance. And Eugen was filming this the whole time. So this is like the viral video, I guess. Rachel gets home and she's giddy. And then she's interrupted by her mom coming in and asking if her homework's done. And her dad looks tired because, he's doing law school. Eugen then messages her to check Instagram and it worked. She's viral, guys. So Eugen and Rachel get called into a meeting with Mr. No and like the other execs. Eugen's all like, my girl Rachel should sing the duet. And all the execs are like, she vomited on her star. And that was the worst audition I'd ever seen. Right as they're about to leave, someone gets up and yells, wait! And says they can't judge this without seeing the viral video, of course. Which, like, had they not seen it? Or, and they watch it together and they're like, okay, she's talented, but is she professional? And then Mr. No makes the decision to make it a trio. Which is such a weird thing to do, I think. Making what was a duet a trio, because it's like a love song, I guess. I don't know. Rachel runs home and she sees her mom's upset and she's watching a video of Rachel, but not the viral video. So remember when like Mina drugged her and they like filmed her? Yeah, so someone just texted her mom that, and Rachel starts crying and her mom's like not having it, and they fight. And, Rachel tells her mom about the trio, which is like a great opportunity, and like her mom really doesn't care. But then after a while she's like, okay, do your single, see where it takes you. But if you don't debut by the time that the DB family tour happens, then like you're out. We learn about some of the intense training stuff, like the constant weigh-ins, the interview drills, waking up at 4 a.m. every day. Oh, and apparently there's going to be a music video for this single. She's doing an outfit fitting, and like, classic Jessica, there's like quite some descriptions of like the outfits, like totally in depth and like unnecessary. But you know, she loves fashion. Don't forget. Mina and Rachel have a weigh-in, and Mina is 1 pound heavier than last time. Oh no 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 no. Also, are they do they measure in pounds? Aren't they in kilograms? I don't know. And because Mina's like heavier, she has to list out everything she ate, which I don't think I could ever do that. And then then the trainer makes a comment how Mina should have plastic surgery for her calves. Calves. These things. Oh god. I can't say I've ever looked at an idol and been like, ew, they're calves. You know? I don't know, maybe that's just me. And we see Akira doing a punishment. I don't know what she got punished for, but she's doing this exercise where she's like doing a wall sit and singing. And it's like kind of said to be like this horrible thing, but like that's totally an exercise you would totally have to do in this kind of industry. Mina and Rachel are practicing their dance, and there's this move in the second verse that Rachel just can't do. I don't understand why she can't do the move, but like it's like she just cannot figure it out. Like it's a thing. Jason, you know, walks in late and he's eating like fast food. All the execs are cool with it because, you know, he's Angel Boy. They switch to singing practice and Mina is singing her stuff. And Jason's like trying to talk to Rachel. I'm sure everyone's had this moment in class where like one person's like trying to talk to you and you're like, we can't talk. We're gonna get in trouble. And then for some reason he's like,
Oh, wow. There are gold flecks in your eyes.
And then he just dips because he has to go meet with Mr. No. Why was he here? He didn't do anything. So we're back at Rachel's gym class. She gets nailed in the head with a tennis ball because she's too busy thinking about Jason. And like, I don't want to go off on another tangent. They have a botany class. And this is like brought up so much. Botany. That's so random. There's a break apparently coming up from school, and Rachel's excited to like have an actual break, and she doesn't do schoolwork or train. And then we cut to her day off, and her sister Leah wakes her up at like freaking early in the morning to tell her that like she won a fan sign to like the next boys, and she of course has to go with Rachel. And Rachel does not want to go, but Leah informs her that it's at the Style Dome. What's the Style Dome, you ask? It's this fancy schmancy store that's invitation only. And yes, it's a fashion thing. Rachel just wants to go because fashion. She has a passion for fashion when she chooses to have it, I guess. So yeah, they go to this fan sign thing. They're standing in line. It's still dark. It's like 4 a.m. or something. And then Leah just falls asleep when they get there. Rachel goes to get coffee and like somehow runs into Jason. And Leah like made this poster of Jason's like evolution of his career. And he sees the poster because Rachel's holding it. And he's like,
You made this for me?
Rachel gets back to the line and Leah's like getting bullied. Rachel has like a really like kind of deep in thought moment about how she feels bad for her sister. Because her sister doesn't have these authentic friendships because she's known as like the sister of a K-pop trainee. And then Rachel's thoughts get interrupted by like a pretty elevator because I guess that's all it takes. They see the table, they see the boys, Leah's happy. Oh, and I guess Rachel like accidentally ripped Leah's poster, but then like Leah's cool about it and like fixes it and gives it to Jason Oppa. And he like takes a selfie with it. A lot of selfies. And he's like selfies with her. And then of course he's gotta get selfies with Rachel. Of course. Now Jason, being the smooth guy he is, asks Rachel for her number, of course, because he has to send her the pictures. And, they should have each other's numbers anyway because, they work together. The line then tells them to, hurry the fuck up because, yeah, they're just, taking all these selfies and exchanging phone numbers. And then Rachel gets recognized because, that viral video, and people want pictures of her and Jason together. And then there's some comments and, hate because people think she's, his girlfriend. And we can't have that. Then, security's gotta cut in. And I guess that's the end of the fan sign. I guess no one else got to have the signage from the next boys. I don't know what happened. Back home, studying for botany, she gets a text from the one and only Mr. Jason. And it's this a pic of them being adorable and looking at each other and smiling. And there's a message that's this one's just for the werewolf girl. Because remember back how Jason was dating a werewolf or something. She's the werewolf. It's stupid, I know. We are back at the studio. Rachel is practicing the dance and she still can't get this move right in the second verse. How hard can it really be? Then an exec walks in, Mr. Han, who Rachel describes as a Korean Chris Hemsworth of the execs, which I guess just means he's attractive and young, whereas everyone else is old. He's there for Rachel because Rachel's mom's on the phone. Honestly, the phone conversation is not important. Rachel and Mina practice alone together the next day because the trainers are enjoying some gifts that Mr. Chu has sent them. Mina actually has the great idea of switching some parts so they can cover up each other's weaknesses. So, Rachel, who can't do that freaking move, whatever it is, doesn't have to do it. So Mina will do it. And then there's a note Mina can't really hit. So then Rachel can do it because Mina's a dancer, Rachel's a singer. This seems so obvious. And of course, Rachel thinks this is a trap, but Mina is serious and determined. And they try it out and they're like, yeah, we should do that. And then Sunday happens. They have to perform it. They're in costume. It's performance time. The execs are watching. Oh, by the way, they're performing this routine for the first time with Jason. They did inform him, I guess, of this switcheroo. But so they do it, and Mr. No ain't happy, as I can imagine, because they just did this without telling anyone. But then Mr. Han, our Chris Hemsworth, he saves the day, saying it was great. I guess this Mr. Han guy is supposed to show how old people got the old thoughts and the young people got this is what K-pop's now. They're the thing that they get it. The three of them break apart after the performance. Jason goes to Mr. No. Mina gets scolded by her dad. And he says if this happens again, Mina is no daughter of his. Rachel feels bad. And she's like, hey, you okay? And Mina's like, whatever. Remember, we're not friends. This is a weird chapter. We are now at Jeju Island. You're probably wondering why. Botany. She has a botany class field trip to Jeju Island. Botany! They're on this bumpy car ride, which is more up and down than her life. Apparently Jason and her have been texting. Ugh. I don't really trust him. They're staying in this really fancy hotel, and Jessica just goes off about a lot of Korean culture stuff in this chapter. I feel that's the whole point of this chapter, which is cool, I guess, but doesn't really move the plot forward. But this moves the plot a bit. Not bad. She sees this girl arguing with a boy, and then she realizes the girl's a K-pop star, a member of Electric Flower. Remember, Electric Flower is huge. It's Kang Jina. Remember Kang Jina from the yearbook wall? This is her. She I told you she'd be important. And like, they're having this argument, and there's some comments from him saying that she is being treated poorly, by the company and whatever. And she would rather let herself down than her fans. Kang Jin-ah then just like sees Rachel and recognizes her. And Rachel, being the classic trainee, is like asking for advice. You know what advice she gives her?
Never have a boyfriend.
Just trust me. You can't be a K-pop star and fall in love. Having a boyfriend isn't just difficult, it's dangerous. Mr. Chu has Mr. No wrapped around his finger, and neither of them will ever shell out money for a female star that's anything less than perfect. Single and perfect. Oh, also, apparently the guy that Kang Jin-ah is dating is also a K-pop star. And I guess, Rachel and Jason texting. Jason's like, you should have a self-care day. So they're going to do that. And he's like, you should invite Leah as well. And then Rachel's like, okay with it. Because then it's like, like a date. Because Leah's there. Rachel and Leah are now on some private plane for their self-care day. They have no idea where they're going. They find out they're going to Tokyo. They see Jason because they didn't take the flight with Jason. They see him like there. And, Rachel's going to text Akira because remember, Akira is Japanese. And Jason just like takes her phone away. So he flies these girls out to a country that they didn't know they were going to. And then just takes their phones away. They go to Harajuku and they eat lunch. Leah ends up throwing up a rainbow, and it is onto Rachel. They're back on the plane. They're in their PJs. Rachel sees Kiki's delivery service as like an option to watch, and like her and Jason just like reminisce about childhood, which I get. I love Kiki. It's my favorite Ghibli film. I know it's not the best, but it's my favorite, so shut up. And Rachel asks the deep question, do you wish you could ever go back? So he's from Canada, and remember, he is half white. He specifically talks about how he's too white to be Asian, but he's too Asian to be white. He says he doesn't regret becoming a K-pop star, but they talk about things that, they're sad they miss, like summer camps, prom and promposals. Rachel's favorite promposal being a box of donuts that spelled out prom, which kind of lame. Jason throws out the line that he thinks his mom would really like her because he could be himself around her. His father, however, is a touchy subject. So, we're not going to talk about that, I guess. And then he's like about to tell her something. I guess that maybe he likes her, but we won't know because Leah wakes up and cockblocks the whole situation, asking if they're back yet. And then they're all like, we should get some rest while we finish the flight. Back to K-pop stuff, freaking finally. So DB is having a pop-up concert for like the summer. And they're filming the video, like the music video, like live of like them performing it, which is weird. She has this lucky red scrunchie that she wants the hairdresser to put in her hair, and she like does it, which I don't know. Rachel just has the booming thoughts from Kang Jin-ah being like,
Don't have a boyfriend, it's dangerous.
She gets a gift in her dressing room. It's a box of donuts, and it spells out good luck with a little heart-shaped donut. People are asking who it's from, and Akira, being the bro she is like, oh, it's from me. But then she's like, yo, who is it really from? I mean, we know it's really from Jason. But this is when Rachel brings up that she feels some awkwardness between her and Akira, which seems so random, but this becomes a thing. But not only are there donuts in this, there's a card.
Meet me backstage.
So she meets Jason backstage. He holds her hand and he talks about that moment on the plane and says he wants to take a chance with her. Oh my god. Oh, by the way, this whole like backstage conversation thing is happening while like Kang Ji-na and Electric Flower are performing like on stage. And then they kiss! Jason doesn't take his eyes off me. And other than the faint touch of starlight on his cheekbones, we're cloaked in darkness where we stand. He cups one hand gently against my face, and I let my eyes close as I lean in. I feel his lips press softly against mine. Warmth floods through my entire body as he moves his hand to the back of my neck, sparking in my stomach and out to my fingertips. If I thought singing with him was magic, this is something else entirely. My breath hitches as his hands slide down to my waist, pulling me in closer, and I wrap my arms around his neck. His lips part, and the scent of him pins itself to my heart as I open my mouth and breathe him in. Maple and mint. So yeah, and then they're called on stage. You know, you would think that the next chapter is about their performance, but no. We start off with her family and they are eating naengmyeon. We do learn from Leah that Rachel's performance was great. Oh, and apparently Rachel and Jason rented out a movie theater. Well, Jason did. But like, oh my god. One great thing about Korean culture is that it makes secret relationships pretty easy to maintain. There are private movie rooms, private karaoke rooms, and private dining rooms at most restaurants. We get little snippets of the movie date they're watching Say Anything, which Rachel absolutely loves because she loves the boom box thing, which I never got. I've seen Say Anything. Like I'm a sucker for these kinds of things. It did nothing for me. I don't really care for John Cusack. Maybe that's it. Jason reassures her that there's don't worry about that no dating rule. It's fine. We cut back to the restaurant, you know, where her family's eating. Because, yeah, the movie thing was a flashback that happened in the past. And Leah's got some tea to spill because she's got some K-pop news. Kang Ji-na has left Electric Flower. She did not re-sign her contract. And so, yeah, this was at the end of the 7-year contract, because that's, like, the big thing in K-pop. Everyone knows about the 7-year curse. And I guess, like, the reason the article saying that Kang Ji-na left was, like, the idol, it's all going to her head or something. And she, like, wanted to, like, step away. We are now at Rachel's school, fancy schmancy botany school. And then Hyeri, which she is one of the Cho twins. You probably don't remember her name specifically. But she's like, meet me in the rose garden, Rachel. So Rachel goes to the rose garden and she gets a message.
Turn around.
It's Jason! And Jason's holding his phone like the boombox from Say Anything. And then they sneak into the music room. And Jason finds a guitar. So I don't think I've actually mentioned this here yet. Jason's timeline, his history was he was like a YouTube, he's like a Justin Bieber. He was a YouTube kind of cover artist who got discovered that way and then became a K-pop star. So he plays guitar and like sings and shit. So then Jason on the guitar, he plays this next hit. I'm back and forth, the push and pull. I'm falling fast and floating free. I'm a glass half empty or half full, caught in between two galaxies. And, you know, Rachel's like, oh my god, what song is that? And he's like, oh, you know, it's just a little song I wrote. Apparently this is the music he wants to be performing with DB, but like, it's not DB's style. Songs with meaning. And then the twins just like burst into the music room because they like figured they were there, and they're like, hey guys, your music video's out. And then Jason wants to celebrate with a real date where I guess they can like go out in public, and Rachel's like, no, people will recognize us. So Jason's just like,
fine, we'll just be unrecognizable.
and then he looks at whichever twin who does like the makeup stuff. So they're gonna go in disguise. So they go to Lotte World in like face paint, I guess. I feel like it's really not made clear. And while they're there, they hear their song. And Jason's like,
watch this.
And he asks some random girls what they think about the song. And, you know, they're all like,
Jason is so hot. I want to have his babies. Is he single? What kind of girl would he like? Probably someone beautiful and talented. Not like those two girls he was with. They're slutty and not pretty enough to make up for their lack of talent.
So Rachel, obviously kind of distressed, is like, I'm gonna dip. And Jason's like,
oh my god, are you okay?
Jason just thinks Rachel's upset for like getting critiques. Rachel just eats the popcorn that Jason gave her and doesn't say anything. So it's later in the day. They go to this restaurant that I guess Jason like frequents. He like knows the owner, but I guess it's like low key that like people don't know he frequents here. And then Rachel spots someone familiar at this restaurant. Who could it be? Well, it's Kang Jin-ah. So Kang Jin-ah drinking some soju, and here we get some tea. So she sees Rachel and she's like, I thought I told you not to date. So like apparently Kang Jin-ah was actually kicked out of DB. It wasn't that she chose to like not re-sign her contract. And she just goes off. So she warned Rachel about like debuting and how you are signing away the next 10 years of your life. But aren't contracts only 7 years? How naive, Rachel. Apparently, I guess the same day that you signed that 7-year contract, you also signed an extension like 3-year contract, but they like post-date it. So they date it to, I guess, like when it would like become a thing. So you're really signing a 10-year contract. And, you know, Rachel's curious, like, why did Kang Jin-ah get kicked out? Like, she's famous. And, you know, Kang Jin-ah just tells her it's dangerous to have a boyfriend. So apparently DB found out about Kang Jin-ah's boyfriend, and now the company and her boyfriend have cut her out. So she has no one and nothing. We get boyfriends. We let them ruin our lives, and they get away, scot-free and blameless. You think his label gives a shit about him having a girlfriend? Of course they don't. It's one set of rules for them and another set of rules for us. DB talks about us being a family, but they don't care. They don't care about me, about you. They don't care about anyone. All they care about is making us into perfect K-pop machines that will do everything they say and rake in the money for them. Well, DB can go fuck themselves. Mr. No, Mr. Chu, everybody, fuck them. I know secrets that would set the K-pop world on fire. If I could just have a private conversation with Jessica, I just want to know all the tea. So Kang Jin-ah then gets like escorted out by her friends, and she gives Rachel one last warning. Watch out for Mr. No and Mr. Chu. And Jason is just like not bothered by this. And then Rachel is realizing that this relationship could destroy her career. And Jason's like,
we can tell Mr. No, this is real. He'll be happy for us.
Dude. Rachel says it's over, and Jason drops
I can't believe how much you're overreacting to this.
And, you know, Rachel is just thinking about how she made it this far, and, like, She's not ready to throw away her chance at debut, for a boy. And so Rachel is avoiding Jason, and we're back at the boxing gym. Oh, her dad is graduating law school, and he invited her to his graduation. But she can't go because surprise! DB sent the trio on a last-minute promotional tour in Toronto, Canada. I can't imagine just being told last minute that I'm going all the way across the world to like tour. They like fly in this fancy private jet that I guess Mina's family provides. Oh, and by the way, this is happening during like a 2-week summer break for like Rachel's school, and that's why her mom's okay with it, which is very convenient. So Rachel's on the plane, she's doing homework. Jason comes on by. Rachel's not having it. Unfortunately, the sweet, sensitive, boombox holding, prom posing guy I dated is gone, and I'm stuck with the cocky, snarky guy I met outside the trainee house a couple months ago. Oh, by the way, her dad still hasn't shared like the law school news to the rest of the family because he's like waiting for like a job opportunity, and then he'll break the news. And we're once again reminded that Rachel and Akira have like not really been vibing lately. The last time they saw each other was to like catch up, and Akira wasn't feeling it. And Rachel got swept away because of like, her schedule. Yeah, she's texting Akira and Akira's not responding. Oh, and now we get some more, I guess, tea. It's not really tea, it's more of just things that Jessica is clearly annoyed with. So they're promoting their single, and every time they're, getting interviewed, Rachel's getting these comments of like,
"Oh my god, your English is so good."
She grew up in America. Jason gets a question about, is it hard being in your hometown? Because remember, he's Canadian and they're in Toronto. And does it make him think about his mom? Here's the thing about Jason's mom. She passed away when he was young. He has a second of vulnerability when the question's asked, but he swiftly avoids it. And he brings up the news that they're going to be going to Rachel's hometown of New York City, because they're doing a second half of the tour. Rachel and Mina have no idea about this. It's an unwritten rule that K-pop trainees aren't permitted to complain about anything they're asked to do. Not only that, but we're expected to be thankful for everything, for extra long practice sessions, for punishments doled out to us in the hallways, for the strict diets enforced on us, and especially for the surprise trips to New York City. This news is obviously like a lot to Rachel, because remember her situation. She lived in New York, she moved to Korea, and like it's all on her to become a K-pop star. That's why her family did this. New York, I should be thrilled, like Mina and Jason. But at this moment, all I can think about is everything K-pop has asked of me. Move across the world to a new country. Miss your dad's graduation. Train 24/7. Never stop smiling. Even when you have to break up with your boyfriend. The one boy who got it, who knew what this life was like, whose dreams were your dreams. I've dreamed about going home for years, but now, in this moment, I don't see home. I just see another thing that K-pop is asking of me. Go to another city with no notice and no say. I should be jumping up and down with joy, but it doesn't feel the way I thought it would. Nothing does. Unable to sleep, she FaceTimes her sister Leah, who is like unaware of the whole Jason stuff, by the way. So Leah was gonna go to a theme park with friends, and they were gonna sleep over at her house, but after finding out that Rachel's on tour, they canceled. Rachel, at the hotel that they're staying, goes downstairs and she sees Jason having a serious phone conversation. It's some person Jason hasn't seen in years. And this person refuses to see him and is busy with work. Who could this be? His father. So then, like, all three of them, like, bump into each other downstairs because they're gonna, like, drive to their next show. And Jason just, like, proposes this idea to, like, rent a car himself and meet, like, the DB people there. The management's just like, oh, yeah, sure. And they're like, yeah, we'll bring the outfits. Like, meet you there. While in the car, Rachel and Mina both get this feeling that Jason is not going the right way. But he insists he knows. It is his hometown after all, so like, I get it. Then the car gets stuck in mud and there's no signal. And then Jason's like,
I remember a gas station like a few miles back. I'm gonna walk to that, and I'll get back to you guys.
This is probably the most like ooh moment we're gonna get from I was about to say Taeyeon and Jessica. From Mina and Rachel. So while they're alone, they're talking together about how Jason is like not even gonna get in trouble about this situation, and it's just gonna all fall on them. Like, people are gonna call the two of them reckless, and like he's gonna be applauded for graciously driving them. And we get some sympathy for Mina because she's not able to make her own choices, and she has to smile and do what you're told because of the family. And the two of them kind of relate with this because Rachel sees like Mina's dad is the same as like her mom, where they have these high expectations. It's like, how much more are they going to ask us to sacrifice before letting us debut? My whole family just up and left our life behind in New York for me, and it's been 6 years and nothing. And now my mom is breathing down my neck about college, and it's like, no matter how hard I work, nothing I do will ever be good enough for her. Oh, Jason finally arrives in a tow truck with coffee in the Canadian delicacy, Timbits. They actually arrive like an hour before the thing starts to like get ready, which I guess it's cutting it close, like I get it, but apparently Jason was only allowed to drive if he waited for the outfits from dry cleaning at the hotel. So there's no outfits. And Mina's obviously freaking out and wondering what her dad's gonna think, because oh my god, there's a lot of pressure there. Jesus. Rachel is on it. Miss Fashionista. She actually has a dress and a pair of heels in her bag at all times ever since her, like, I guess, encounter at that trainee house when she thought it was gonna be like singing practice and it was just a party. And the dress is orange, and the shirt she wears happens to also be orange, and Jason has orange socks, so there's cohesion. It's perfect. Oh, and then we meet Jason's aunts. They meet him backstage. They're introduced to Rachel, and they invite her to dinner. And she really doesn't have any time to respond because they have to go on stage to perform. This is the first time we actually get any kind of description of the performance. A rush of warmth fills my body as I remember why I love K-pop so much. How special it is to be able to share my language and my culture with people all over the world and have them truly see it, understand it, love it. I feel my smile stretch on my face, and my heart feels light and free for the first time since this tour started. I remember why I'm here, why I love this. Then, as they're doing the performance, Mina like does this spin and her heel just like snaps. Remember, Rachel's the one that gave her these heels. But she like covers it like such a pro. She just like rolls over, kicks off the heels, and performs. She's clearly injured. And of course, when they get like off stage, she clearly thinks that Rachel like sabotaged this and did this on purpose. They send Mina off to the hospital to figure out, I guess, her injury. And the aunts are back asking about dinner. They go to this like fancy restaurant with like VIP service, and Rachel is just like annoyed that Jason isn't even slightly impressed about like the luxury of it all.
What's your problem?
He whispers, leaning away from his emos aunts. I don't have a problem. I guess I'm just not used to being doted on by adoring fans wherever I go. His eyes narrow at me.
You have no idea what you're talking about.
Now it's my turn to act confused. What do you mean? I have. Suddenly, the waitress sweeps over with a bottle of white wine. And it's not. Oh, and apparently Jason's aunts, so they're his mom's sisters, and they like own the town that they're in. That's why they got this like VIP service. Jason and Rachel are back with the DB crew. Mina returns on crutches. She has a twisted ankle, and she can't do the New York second half of the tour, so it's just gonna be Jason and Rachel. Mina's pissed. And Mina gets a call from Mr. Chu saying it's absolutely shameful and that she's stupid and not his daughter. Jason offers to drive Rachel in the rental car so she can have space for Mina, but she's like, is it worth it? And yeah, she decides not to ride with Jason, and she would rather ride back with Mina. So Rachel and Jason are now in Central Park, and they're filming some kind of like promo video for like the single, and it's like Rachel showing Jason like her favorite spots around NYC. And of course, it's like all the tourist spots, like they go to Times Square. And Rachel talks about with every shot, she has to have like a completely different outfit, completely different makeup, completely different hair. And like it's all this exhausting like work. And all Jason does is like change sunglasses. And yeah, Rachel doesn't get to eat anything, even when they're actually filming in a literal restaurant, ordering food. And then Rachel smells some falafel, starts thinking about her childhood, and then suddenly Jason's arms are around her, asking if she's okay. Yeah, so Rachel was like swaying, about to collapse because she hasn't eaten. Jason asks to stop filming because like clearly Rachel needs a break, and the crew is like, nah, we're tight on schedule. And Jason gets into an argument with the crew about this difference in treatment, and he's just like, you know what?
We're taking the day off.
The two of them dip and they go to Shake Shack. He asks her how it's really like being back in New York, and she's like, it's weird. She had this pressure, and like she kind of feels like it's her fault that her family moved to Korea. And Jason's like,
I get that.
And she scoffs. Jason mentions that whatever pressure she's feeling to debut just gets multiplied by 1,000,000 once it actually happens, which I can imagine. And Rachel has not thought this far. And Jason says, she'll be lucky and have her family by her side. Unlike him, because dead mom, unsupportive dad. We learn a lot about some daddy issues here. So remember, Jason is half white, half Korean. His mom is the Korean side, his dad's the white side. And apparently his dad was really against like Jason's mom teaching like Korean or having any Korean culture just mentioned. And then once Jason's mom died, Jason would still want to like sing these Korean songs that his mom taught him. And Jason's dad would just like throw a fit about it. Whenever Jason was in a fight with his dad, he would visit his aunt. And eventually they actually sued for custody And they just offered some cash settlement to the dad, and the dad took it. And nobody knows that part of the story of Jason's career, but everyone knows the second half where he starts making YouTube videos and becomes a celeb. He does apologize to Rachel about the double standards, and he didn't see it because he didn't want to, but now he's here for her. And then they shake hands as friends. Rachel gets surprised by the twins. So apparently their cousin is having an engagement party in Brooklyn. So the twins are like in New York City. The Cho twins, if you forgot. And this was like Rachel's one day off and she was gonna do homework. But then twins are like, wanna go shopping? We have a private suite at Saks Fifth Avenue. And you know Rachel, she's a fashionista. So the girls are looking for dresses for the Molly Folly Gala, which, by the way, I don't think I mentioned this. Molly Folly is like the Cho twins, like, family company. And they go every year, and Rachel realizes she probably can't go this year because of, like, her schedule. So instead, they invite Rachel to come to the engagement party. And so, like, they get to the party. Apparently, like, the family rented out the Brooklyn Bridge, and Diplo's like DJing it or something. And hey, there's Jason by the unicorn fountain. And he's with Minjun and Daeho. I don't think I mentioned Daeho. So Daeho's the one in the love triangle with the twins. I didn't do a good job mentioning that. And then, like, we find out that Jason, like, arranged this so Rachel could have some good memories, even though, like, this engagement party was, like, a real thing. I don't really understand what happened here. And, they're all like, there's no reason to be worried about being spotted because nobody in Brooklyn would admit to recognizing K-pop stars. What? And they shenanigans. DJ is like, y'all might not know this next one, but it just hit #1 on the K-pop charts. Yeah, it's the trio song. Then Rachel kind of has this thought that's a little, questionable. I don't get this. The first time Jason and I kissed, I did it out of fear. Fear that this dream I've been working toward for so long wouldn't be enough, or that I would fail in trying to achieve it. Fear that I would let my friends down, Eugen and my family. But fear can't feed your dreams. It can only feed more fear. I guess I don't understand what this has to do with the kiss. Like, did she just kiss him because she thought that would, like, get her somewhere? I'm so confused. What if I want to be someone who follows her heart and takes chances? Someone who can rise beyond the constant judgment and competition of the industry. Who isn't scared to seize happiness for herself, whatever that may look like. And this thing between Jason and me, whatever it is, I know it sparks a light in me. Don't I deserve to follow that light and see where it goes? To be that girl who holds hands and laughs freely with the boy who makes her heart sing. Even if it means I might have to let go of my dreams. Or maybe just accept that I have a new one. Oh, and then they kiss. Rachel returns to Korea and she's gonna give her family all these presents from her trip to New York. But then, dun dun dun! Yeah, Mina is there with Mr. Chu. I didn't mention this, but when Rachel and Mina were having their, like, bro out moment, she mentioned her dad, his secret, like, law thing. Mr. Chu, offers Rachel's dad a job as an in-house legal consultant. And as Mr. Chu says, we're all family at the Chu Corporation. Now you'll all be a part of the family too. Forever linked. And then Rachel remembers Kang Jina's warning about the chews. Walking to the elevator, Rachel and Mina verbally catfight a bit, as they do. And Mina asks how Rachel and Jason celebrated the big news. Oh, the big news of them hitting #1? Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Jason's going solo. Rachel is trying to reach out to Jason, but she can't. But she only waits a second. She texts him, and then a second later, she's like, I gotta look up #JasonLee on Instagram. And that's how she figures out he just arrived to the DB studio. She gets a text from Akira asking to talk. And then she hears a little girl referring to Rachel as Jason's lover. And she looks up Rachel Kim on the K-pop gossip site, and we get the headline, Jason Lee caught between two lovers. There are photos with Jason and Rachel and, their trip to Tokyo on their, self-care day. And then there are photos of him with Mina on some date-looking activities. And, usually when, there's a guy with two girls, you're like, what a fucking asshole this guy is. But no, it's the girl's fault for pushing and pulling him. And, they both, let him on and, he couldn't choose. Rachel's at DB and she hears Jason's song. And she finds him and Minjun in the practice room. And Jason's all like,
I missed you.
And Rachel shows him the news. And he's horrified. And he needs to freaking explain himself. So here's what happened. So remember at the very beginning, hour, probably more ago, where there were rumors of Jason and DB having some... So apparently he had approached DB about going solo, but the catch was that duet with Mina. And then that video with Rachel went viral, and Jason was like, make it us 3, because it would create more buzz, I guess. DB demanded him to do whatever he could to create buzz about the single, and that included staging dates for him with Rachel and Mina for the paparazzi to follow. And then since Tokyo, Jason has actually been paying the paparazzi to keep the photos offline. And he was planning on telling Rachel, I guess, but it got leaked first. And there's more articles being posted. And Jason's the victim in everything. And then Rachel gets it. And that's when I realized it was DB. They leaked the photos. I stare at him, the pieces clicking together. You thought you were holding off the paparazzi from posting, but it wasn't because of you. It was because they were waiting for a signal from DB to drop them at the perfect time.
What are you talking about?
Think about it, Jason. Summer Heat, which is the trio song, has been one big publicity stunt to create buzz for your solo act. They've set you up as a heartbroken boy caught between two girls so that when you sing your precious debut song, people will relate it to your life and eat it up. And of course they threw me and Mina into the love triangle. Jason is in denial and he doesn't know what to do. And he is tired of being called a liar by Rachel, and he brings up the whole viral video idea, and question how that's like any different than what he did. And Rachel leaves and Jason doesn't go after her. So, Rachel's life kind of sucks right now. Was anything ever really what I thought it was? Or was the entire world a lie? An elaborately created fantasy that lets 11-year-old girls believe that dreams come true, only to shatter them to pieces all at once after she had already dedicated her life to them. Rachel goes over to the Cho twins' house, and the Molly Folly Gala is tonight. And the twins are getting ready. And then they like all start drinking. Like Rachel just starts like chugging tequila. And then the twins are like insisting she comes. And then they just get like dressed up and drink some wine on the couch. I don't think they actually go. It's kind of unclear. And then Rachel's like feeling free because she's like, DB kicked me out. I'm done. I'm freedom. So someone knocks on the door. And it's Deho! Remember the guy that's in the love triangle with the twins? He is here for Hattie. And he just like asks her to be his girlfriend. So Hattie was the one that liked Daeho, but everyone thought Daeho liked Joohyun. Okay. But then Daeho's like, no, Hattie, I loved you this whole time, and then they hug and kiss. I don't care about this subplot. Rachel wakes up in her bed, completely hungover. Remember, she was at the twins' house, so how did she get home? Apparently, Daeho walked her home. While in bed, she sees the giant stack of college applications. What is her future without K-pop? Then her mom walks in, and Rachel tells her mom that her K-pop career's over. Her mom just, like, leaves, and then comes back with these pictures of herself playing volleyball. Remember, her mom, like, had this dream of playing volleyball, but it was just, like, a high school hobby. Or at least that's what we thought. Apparently, her mom was like really good at volleyball and she had the dream of going to the Olympics. And then, like, she was told by her mom to go to school, but she didn't listen because she had this dream of going to the Olympics. But yeah, she wasn't good enough. So that's why her mom has this like backup plan for Rachel in case she can't be a K-pop star. Rachel assures her mom not to worry since she wasn't good enough to be in K-pop. You misunderstand me. Why do you think we came to Korea? So it was originally because her mom's mom died and there was a funeral like in Korea, but Uma still felt this anger towards her mom for not supporting her in her volleyball dreams. And she felt like she had no choice but to help Rachel follow hers. Her mom shows Rachel a fan cam of Rachel doing the summer heat performance. And her mom says, like, although she felt she wasn't good enough for her volleyball career, Rachel is good enough for K-pop. And her mom tells her she's proud of her. Leah then just, like, crashes the moment. And Rachel asks, how you doing? And Leah's like, you think I care about what those girls at school do? You're my sister. Your dreams are my dreams. And then she drops the info how the DB auditions are happening. And now that she's 13, it's time for her to start being a K-pop trainee. And then her mom gets a call from Eugen being like, Rachel needs to come here ASAP. We are back at DB. Eugen informs Rachel how she has heard about everything. Everything just means how, like, DB used her, Mina, and Jason, like, for his solo career. Not, like, the actual, like, true feelings that her and Jason had. And Yujin was not informed about any of this going into it, just by the way. Some girls are mentioning something happened to Akari.
Oh, okay. So I guess apparently an hour and 30 minutes into this, I now finally get her name right. If you forgot, Akari is Akira. Her name is actually Akari. I just keep saying Akira.
I don't quite understand the whole Akari part. Apparently Akari is being traded to a different label. And, you know, Rachel's trying to like text, call, Kako. Everything she does is bouncing back. She's gone. It is newbie day, so they have to do that bowing ceremony thing. Rachel gets to her place in line, and her and Mina are back to their like mean girl stuff. The execs stand in front of Rachel, and they greet her, not knowing if she was going to actually show up. They go to their seats. I guess she's also in a seat, and Jason like sits next to her, and he's like,
"Congratulations."
Then he just like leaves. Mr. No comes on stage with an announcement. They're debuting their new girl group. Not Girls' Generation. Girls Forever. I'm sorry, can we just talk about how awful that name is? Girls Forever. He welcomes the 9 members. Eunji, Sumin, Youngun, which we don't know who she is. Jiyoon, also not. Ari, Lizzie, Sunhee, Rachel, and Mina. Rachel cries and she sees Mr. Chu whispering something to Jason. And then Jason just like nods. Spoiler, we don't actually figure out what that was. Mina and her squad, you know, Lizzie, Eunji, Sumin, they're so happy for Princess Rachel. Mina, like, you know, calls her minions off and, like, asks for time alone with Rachel. And she, like, essentially threatens Rachel of how, like, Yujin can't protect her anymore. And then Mina pulls out her phone, shows Rachel a fan cam from the Electric Flower performance during the like summer tour, and in the corner you can see Rachel and Jason having their first kiss backstage. And who sent this, by the way? Leah. Granted, she didn't know like the blackmail potential. We made it to the last chapter, guys. It is a month later, and they are about to have their debut performance. Girls Forever. They're getting interviewed, and Rachel, she's a pro now of like answering questions in front of a camera. And like she answers the questions saying like how close her and the members are. And then she thinks about all the awful things these girls have been doing to her since they've like become a group. Backstage, Mina is showing a video to some of the girls. Rachel steps in thinking it's the video, but it's not. And then Rachel just like takes the phone and slams it into a glass of water. Oh, I haven't mentioned this, but there has been talk about like this watch that like Mina wears, and we just now figure out it's like an heirloom from Mr. Han. Remember Mr. Han? He's the Chris Hemsworth of DB in Korea, I guess. It's time for the performance. Just as the curtain goes up, I make a decision. Staring straight into the center cameras, I take a big step forward, leaving the other girls in a line behind me and stepping into the spotlight myself. This is my time to shine, and I won't let anyone stop me. And that's the end. That's the book. Was that entertaining? I have no idea. I had fun reading it, so I encourage you to also read it, even though I just went into probably a great description of everything that happened. Yet I left out so much stuff that happened because there's a lot of unnecessary information in the book. I do not regret buying this or reading this. This was a fun time. I don't really know how to end this. It is 4:38 in the morning. Once again, thank you if you made it this far. Even if you watched it at 2 times speed, I still appreciate it.